Be willing to not only hype up and cherish the games you love, but also look at them critically to see them reach their full potential. Spitting 0 seconds in because I'm a thug. 2024 was when I really started to get into real fighting games. But before that, I mean, I had played games like Mortal Kombat X and 11, in the Injustice 2 mobile game, and Mortal Kombat 2 on one of those 500,001 scam game consoles. Those are cool. I played Brawl at friends' houses, and I played a lot, and I mean a lot, of my own copy of Smash 4 for the Nintendo Wii U. Smash was and still is a game that everyone is always down to play, and everyone just fucking loves. So why does everyone hate these? Okay, obviously not everyone, but majority of people who play games do not indulge in fighting games like how fighting game people indulge in fighting games. Which is part of what I've noticed after I've spent much of 2024 diving into fighting games. But overall, the fighting game genre is fucking weird. And while many people might like that sort of elite exclusivity, yeah, it's like sitting at the cool kids table. Yeah, I play fighting games. Later, Nicaragua. I actually do think the genre kind of fails at a lot of stuff fundamentally, which is why it's so niche. And that feeling of exclusivity and eliteness, I guess, is the result of that nicheness. And that's not a good thing, in my opinion. To preface, though, I fucking love fighting games now after 2024. Dragon Ball FighterZ is incredible. Guilty Gear Strive is my personal GOAT at the moment, although Xrd, I played a little of that too. That one has crazy amounts of aura. It's unfucking believable. Tekken 8, I played a little recently. Sparking Zero, can't win them all. Recently, I've been playing Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising. This genre is genuinely and unironically some of the most fun you can possibly have playing games.
And now, it all ends.
No, because seriously, hear me out. In terms of gameplay itself, fighting games, generally speaking, are a fucking 11. Generally speaking. But in many other aspects, they suck fat fucking dick. And someone's got to talk about it so they can grow. This video isn't me complaining, it's me addressing what I've observed to hopefully bring more people into the scene. If you're a fighting game guy, you may disagree from your perspective, but because I'm still sort of fresh off the griddle and not super involved in fighting games, but I know how they work, and you know, I'm pretty sick nasty, you know what I'm saying? I think I can see both perspectives pretty well, not gonna lie. And to put it more bluntly though, we need to rethink our current means of making fighting games, or this genre will never get the recognition it's been yearning for. The one that not only the developers of these games want, not only what many players who already indulge in them want, but what the masses want too. If not, it will remain a niche little genre for only the people willing to look past its faults if we don't have the balls to admit them. Do you want to see your favorite genre flourish, or will you glaze it into the ground and watch it remain a sideshow, denying all the people who want to play it the will to get through the door? It's passion. And no more dramatic YouTuber text on the screen type shit, my bad. But it is passion. Like, seriously, it is. I want to see this genre get what it deserves in a good way. The overarching problem is not that people don't have interest in fighting games, it's the fact that they do have interest in them, but they don't play them. This is caused by multiple things in my eyes. Now where to begin? Well, let's say you don't really know how to play video games and you're on Steam. You're expecting, when buying a multiplayer game for full price, that it will be a full package and will obviously teach you how to play the game with a tutorial, because how else will you know what you're doing? If you buy a shooter, for example, your aim won't be very good when you first start off, but the tutorial will teach you what you're supposed to do in order to succeed. If you buy a fighting game, for example, your everything won't be very good when you first start, and you're completely fucked out of the box. No, do not go to the comment section yet, even if you love fighting games. Today we address the faults and grow stronger. Save your glaze for a donut and face the facts. We have to admit it, fighting games do not teach you how to play. And every fighting game I've ever played does not have a tutorial. It just doesn't even have what I would consider a tutorial. It doesn't even have one. Full stop. What do you mean the video game I purchased for full price does not teach me how to play the fucking game? What do you mean by that? You know how some people look at Terraria and are like, bro, I'm not playing that game. I mean, you literally gotta have the wiki open to play that shit. Like, bro. And you know how those people are completely wrong, right? Well, with fighting games, like all of them, you have to get outside help in order to play them, like a YouTube tutorial or some shit, to realistically reach that 11 out of 10 gameplay experience. You cannot just look at your friend and go, yeah, man, just play the tutorial. You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna spend an hour of their day, if not more, and come out of the other side of that tutorial and be at almost the exact same level of skill and knowledge as before they started, and probably be overloaded with information and want to play the game less, if we're being completely honest. Because these are not tutorials. They're fucking shopping lists. Not only are people not going to remember this shit, these games don't show you context for which to use these things that they're telling you about. Reminder, I sit here I do not hate going through these shopping lists if it's a game that I vibe with, more on that later. But I know that other people do, because I've seen it with my own eyes. If you play fighting games already, don't let your glaze get in the way. I'm doing the same thing. I love these games, dude, but these are garbage for 99% of people, and I can admit that. To elaborate, does this look like teaching? This is Soul Batchai's down medium kick. It is a downward medium kick done by hitting down and medium button. Use it when you want to down medium kick. What the fuck are you talking about? You sound like some stupid ass high school teacher who hates his job and his students. You're not teaching me shit. Instead of sitting there and handing us a freaking list of random stuff, kids in here don't learn like that. This is the future of this genre. If you want a kid to be excited to learn fighting games, you gotta make him excited. Is it true that the guy in that clip is like completely fucked now? Like he just didn't even like to go more further in depth. The problem isn't that people don't want to learn. The problem is that people feel that they can't. Why do you think fighting games basically have two subsets of play? You have what I call casual match forever versus actually learning or playing. Oftentimes when you see fighting games played by the masses, they opt to simply mash buttons and not learn a thing. And while it is true that some people may genuinely just be looking for a pick up and play experience, this style of play is adopted by an abnormally large selection of people who play this genre. Dare I say the majority? It's because of how many people don't want to go through the ladder. A lot of people opt to just find some enjoyment through hitting buttons because the other option involves long, hard, tedious, boring, strenuous, exhausting, boring forms of learning as it stands now. What sounds like it would be more gratifying if you're not into fighting games? Like if you're a complete newbie. Press play, press go, hit buttons, maybe see some cool stuff happen, or going through actual hell to know how to play. We could sit here all day and point the blame at the players for not learning the games themselves, but who are we to blame people for just trying to have fun in the only feasible way they know how? The real truth is that learning these games should be accessible, understandable, and fun, but it just currently fucking isn't for most people. I said that in kind of a mean tone. Like, I'm serious as fuck, but like that, I'm not yelling at you. I'm sorry. Specific example, you know why everybody rushes to learn combos? Because that's what everyone, including casuals, like to do. The problem is that games don't teach people when and where to do them. They just try to teach them how to do them versus an idle bot. Here's a video on why combo trials are borderline worthless. Boom, done. And you can call me bitter in this next take, but doesn't part of you feel as though the only people who are at that level with fighting games where they understand how the genre works are only there because they enjoyed the vibe of their game strongly enough to get past all these hurdles that when compared to most other genres are way higher? If that was true, then the game with the strongest vibe would simply be the most popular fighting game, despite also being very difficult. Oh wait, it is. Yep, Big Smash. But Smash is just a party game. This party game got fucking hands, bro. What that make you?
Shit, I don't know. You got a 6P in my game. I must just be a little party game, man.
Fighting game players and non-fighting game players especially, strap in your seatbelts for this take. I have about the same time in Smash 4 and Smash Ultimate as I do in traditional fighters that I've played, all tallied up together. And I can tell you right now, to learn Smash is equally, if not harder than learning these shits, and I'm not even kidding a little bit. Smash is a difficult ass game with just as high, if not higher hurdles than the ones these games are currently making you jump over. But why does it not seem that way? Well, because the vibe of the game drove enough people to get past them. The vibe or allure is the primary thing that drives people to overcome, I find. I love Strive's style, music, characters, so I was willing to look up YouTube tutorials. I was willing to look past the fact that the game basically doesn't have a tutorial. I was willing to look past the fact that this game has no single player content. Oh, we'll get to that. I was willing to look past the fact that it seemed impossible because the vibe pulled me in. But what we're riddling today is, why the fuck do I need so much willpower just to play these games, my dude? Most people just ain't doing all that unless the vibe is super fucking strong, right? It's why, yeah, I do play some fighting games, but not very many. There's so much stuff you have to do in order to just enjoy yourself in these games after picking them up for the first time as they currently stand, unless you opt to just hit buttons, and maybe this is projecting, but I don't think majority of people want to do that for more than maybe a day. But like I said, the other option of actually trying to learn and play the game is like starting a chess match without any of the fucking pieces, and you have to go find where they are using outside resources to give you clues. Oh, but don't worry, the chess game has a manual. We need to lower these hurdles because majority of people are just not doing all that. They just fucking are. I can deny it no longer. this needs change. These hurdles being so high is what causes people to form things in their mind that have become so solidified, not even just in their mind, but in the gaming scene as a whole. Like, oh, the genre is too hard, it takes too long to learn. And then there's more specific examples from people's experiences who attempt to get over some of these giant hurdles that form like, oh, but, you know, specific one, what about the motion inputs? All of these are so easily disputed by someone who's familiar with the genre, and I've talked about that before in the past, but I've realized disputing them just doesn't matter for most people at the end of the day. Like, I could relay to you what I think Sajam, maybe it was Diaphone, I don't remember, sorry, said about motion inputs, and it was something like, loose quote, if you're learning a fighting game and the motion inputs are the primary thing causing you to deem the game as incredibly hard, you simply didn't even get far enough into that game to really understand what's even going on. And as a guy who understands fighting games, I'm like, yo, talk yo shit, twin, that shit was facts, because it's totally correct. But I think we should be addressing the larger issue of why so many players are forming crazy Johns like that in the first place. Why do so many players feel the way they do, so much so in this genre specifically, bro? I'm spitting today, goddammit, bro. Leave a like. Get some water, bro. You can probably see my lips become more chapped throughout this video, Lockin. It's because these hurdles of stuff you have to look past and overcome are so jarring just to play these games, man. Like, yeah, I've watched people go from not being able to do a quarter circle forward once to after 20 minutes of practice being able to do it with near 100% accuracy, yeah. But in a genre where there's a million other hurdles you also have to overcome with no fucking help from the game, even simple stuff like learning that just becomes another annoying as fuck. Wait, what? Even simple stuff like learning that just becomes annoying as fuck and a breeding ground to make excuses to help yourself feel better. Like, just stop and read some of these, and I guarantee you've heard and said one of them yourself at some point. Excuses are obviously in every genre of game, but in this genre especially, it's clear things need to change. People love playing Smash because the vibe of all these characters, and many are able to tough it out through the hard times because of it.
I've lost it. I'm pulling them out.
Rosalina and Luma.
But that's the thing. Fighting games have crazy allure. I mean, have you seen Granblue's new character? Goddamn. Fighting games have crazy allure to people all over the world. Instead of trying to increase the game's allure, though that's not a bad thing, of course, what we need to focus on is lowering these hurdles and making these games easier. We need to remove motion inputs. Then we need to... Got your ass. You really think... Yeah, I got your ass. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? No, people love hard games. The problem is not the height of the hurdles, it's the drive that motivates people to jump. Making a piss baby easy game will, in turn, make it less cool for probably a lot of people. Again, there's so many people who look at fighting games and think, yo, that shit looks sick, bro. But they don't play them. They think the thing we're playing right now is sick, but they don't play it. These games need to rethink their packaging and means to motivate players to learn in a way that's fun, intuitive, and engaging, and it starts right now. Let's fix the current fighting game package to help it flourish. Think of it like fighting games are a diamond in the rough, but we have to address the roughage before they could truly shine for everyone. We are changing the traditional model of fighting games so it no longer purely relies on enough players simply vibing with the game style strong enough to get past the treachery, and we're actually making a product a mass amount of people can more reasonably just have fun in and enjoy out of the box. You wanna know what I would do first to help people feel like these full price games, by the way, are worth their money? Well, first, can we get what is it? Oh yeah, single player content? Please? You see, fighting games range from $20 to $60 on average from what I've seen. The high-end ones are probably gonna go up to $70 soon, and fighting game enjoyers, this is going to sting. The single-player content currently offered is just not interesting to the masses, bro.
Oh good, I only like fighting games because they're a cool kids exclusive genre, and only the most elitist of gamers ever play them.
Right. The games that I play usually feature a main story mode, which can range from okay for maybe a little bit, but not super enjoyable, to just not very fun at all, to be honest. Now, I haven't played all of them, obviously. Like, I haven't played Street Fighter 6's single player mode, though I'd be lying if I said most of the enjoyment doesn't look like it comes from making an absolute abomination and seeing them in the cutscenes. That does sound fun. And if there is a single player mode that is really fire, let me know in the comments, because most of these games' single player content just boils down to you fighting the CPU, which, let's be honest, most people just don't find enjoyable. When someone drops 50 to 70 bucks on a fighting game, they should be getting a full experience, bro. And I understand a lot of this video might sound like, yo, Toko's projecting, bro. But that's the thing. I, and people who are already in the space, I assume, I actually don't mind these, to be completely honest, but I know that other people just ain't doing all that. Like I'm saying, Smash 4, I just don't think it's fun for majority of people to fight the CPU after they've done it once. And they might not even do it once because it's a fucking CPU. I think arcade mode remaining a feature in almost every fighting game is cool because legacy. But other than that, the single player content within most fighting games should be something more interesting. And now I've seen one good one and one crazy amazing hypothetical multiplayer mode that another YouTuber came up with that I just have to share, bro. But the good single player one? Well, would you look at that? It's Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Subspace Emissary. You traverse platformer-esque levels with a bunch of unique enemies, turn them into trophies, fight bosses, and you get to see the characters interact in crazy cool cutscenes. Everyone knows about this, probably. I would genuinely and unironically play this right this very second. Now, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, the game I'm playing as this video comes out, that game's story mode is sort of like this, but without dynamic stages, hence why I said it wasn't bad when I was speaking in the background, but it's not super crazy, and it wouldn't exactly sell me on the game. And I would consider that to be probably the best single player content I've played out of all of the fighting games I've played outside of Subspace. And I really don't want this video to seem like I'm projecting, but I'm bringing this up because I see online so many people talking about fighting game single player content just not being very good. Like, my tier list looks like this. Most people's would probably look like this. And yeah, I understand implementing a platform fighter-esque level design into these games would be pretty difficult, but while I think about how to solve that, the homie P Jiggles had an idea for a Smash Bros. Battle Royale mode. I hate Battle Royales. I love this idea.
Basically, what I have in mind is a mode where a ton of players get dropped on a gigantic stage. Something like the Smash Run mode from Smash 3DS, but even bigger. And how it'll work is that you run around, maybe collect some power-ups here or there, and when you run into another player, and maybe when you land a hit, the camera would zoom out a bit, and the edges of the screen would then become the blast zones. At this point, you start fighting each other, obviously trying to launch your opponent into the newly formed blast zones to KO them, and whoever wins gets to go back to exploring the map.
It's the biggest piece of peak that I've ever heard.
Sign me the fuck up. Now, you would have to modify this to work in a 2D and 2.5D fighter, since obviously characters are way more vertically mobile in platform fighters, but oh my gosh, what a crazy ass idea. I love it. I love it. I have no idea how you'd implement this into Tekken, but I could totally see it being a thing in these 2D and 2.5D and arena fighters and stuff, right? This motherfucker is genius. And I get it, it's wishful thinking, but if you figure out a way to do this in this, then that means that you can do this. You see what I mean? So, more engaging single player content outside of just fighting the damn CPU, and a great hypothetical multiplayer mode I had to share. But single player specific stuff, genuinely, if every fighting game had a mode as engaging as Subspace Emissary, or literally just copied Subspace Emissary and modified it to better fit like the specific mold and physics of their own game, that would be absolute peak. Not saying they'd have to allocate a shit ton of budget for crazy looking cutscenes, just something more engaging and something that feels like an actual single player mode other than just fighting the CPU. That becoming box standard, oh my gosh, bro. Imagine every game had a Subspace, bro. But like I just said, you don't get, you know, that'd be a lot of money, but like you tone it down, you know, it's like, oh my gosh. And that VR mode, absolute cinema for multiplayer. Speaking of which, now it's time for the big one. As discussed, fighting games should remain as they are in terms of sheer difficulty because they're cool, but we need better ways to teach players in-game and build the motivation to jump over these hurdles. In simple terms, a Souls-like player will throw themselves headfirst at a boss 100,000 times because the goal is right in front of them, while a new fighting game player will give up after 10 tries because they didn't even know the boss they were fighting had a health bar.
Oh yeah, I'll be sure to look at that alongside the 500 other things on the fucking screen.
While fighting games may give a little wink, nudge to it. Hey, man, you know, maybe you go play the tutorial, I don't know. Most players will just jump straight into online matches because that's what everyone always does with multiplayer video games. All right, yeah, the only problem with that is the worst possible fucking thing you can do. If you purchase a fighting game and dive straight into the Sarlacc pit of online matches versus real people, as the current fighting game model stands, you are guaranteed to have a bad time. Yeah, full stop again. If you play the mode that everyone plays in this multiplayer video game, you are guaranteed to have a bad time. Huh? Now for this thing that I have in mind, I'm gonna take inspiration from Rainbow Six Siege. I'm not loading up Siegex to verify if this is still a thing because Reddit said it was all just a ruse to transform the game into a free-to-play cash grab, and that's strictly against my religion. But back in the day, this FPS game allowed players level 1 through level 50 to play in an exclusive playlist called Newcomer, the very first mode they see when opening up the game, allowing them to play against other newcomers. Smurfing was a problem, but I want to take this idea and expand upon it anyway. When you purchase your brand new fighting game, and by the way, I don't expect like indie fighting games to be implementing all the crazy stuff we're talking about in this video, like that's super developmentally. I stuttered, but you get what I mean. But yeah, you've been playing that new fighting game standard single player story mode like Subspace, or itching to play that new Battle Royale mode, whichever you saw in the trailers. But your new player eyes will notice that real 11 out of 10 gameplay experience that you see people delving into is locked. But not locked in a way that's denying you from it, no. Getting to it is now your new ultimate goal. This will be controversial, but I think it'd be very, very interesting. Fighting game fundamentals are now broken down into quests into our newcomer playlist. Players only progress towards unlocking the real ranked mode after completing all of these quests. Quests that are backed by context to show you the value of when and where to use the game's mechanic, movement, and whatever else. You'll be pitted against other players, and sure, you can win the match just by mashing away to your heart's content, but you won't actually progress towards your goal. Now, in between matches, you'll see your quest or contract of sorts. This shifts the goal entirely. The game won't say win or lose when your health bar reaches 0. It will simply be checking whether or not you completed your goal for the game by the time that this does happen. Quests will span all across the game's system mechanics until you've learned and applied them all. Showing players the value and challenging them to use these individual mechanics will not only provide hands-on, real-time learning against an actual person, but will shift away the sting of losing, because who cares if you lose your health bar? You just need to complete your quest for that match in order to truly win. But Toko, won't people just camp and fish for completing their quests that you're talking about? Yes, but they'll quickly learn that that's a bad strategy. Think about it. This system will teach them that they need to be calculated. If your quest tells you to successfully land a super dash in Fighter Z, you will quickly learn that just spamming it to try and cheese out the quest will not work, just like in a real match. Assuming that you and your opponent both read the actually useful tip in between matches, yeah, tips are actually useful now, by the way, you're now both forced to be calculated and cunning. You're now both learning how to truly use this mechanic. Span this across every mechanic and important normal move, which there aren't really that many in most games, to be completely honest. And while this list might seem like a lot, these are just strive system mechanics. I've watched people from all different backgrounds go from nothing to fully understanding all of these in legit like 2 fucking days. Different people learn at different speeds, yeah, but I think that alone is proof enough that with actually good teaching, you will see people pick up fighting games on average at lightning speeds, bro. The average person could pick up all of these in a handful of hours with good teaching. That's my point. And you'll be left with a player 10 times better, 10 times more fulfilled, and someone having 10 times more fun than the guy who was told to fuck off and go do the written tutorials. Now, this quest or gauntlet mode that is used to unlocked rank would be the big flashing color first mode you see when opening the game, of course. But because mandating and forcing players to go through something like this is not something that everyone might like, as briefly mentioned earlier, there are people who truly just enjoy mashing buttons to play these games. You could still play casual multiplayer matches out of the box, but the game will hit you with that. Without going through quest mode, you will most likely have no idea how to play this game. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yep. Quest mode will pit you against real players as well as rewarding you for completing quests. It will teach you how to play the game while putting you straight into the action too. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yep. By hitting accept, you fully acknowledge that you will more than likely get your ass kicked because you more than likely have no idea how to play this game. Do you accept? Yep. Unironically, that needs to be a feature. And it should pop up if you try to play casual online, room matches, hell, probably even every mode at least the first time until you check the don't show me this again thing or whatever. We really want to push players towards playing the quest mode. Nah, see, don't let that shit stop pulsating until they beat it. And also give them the title of dunce and don't let them take it off until they beat it. This quest mode, I genuinely think could be a phenomenal way to teach people the game while dropping them directly into the action, while also not having any penalty for losing the actual match. In fact, I think there should only be a small bonus for actually winning. At first, I thought there should be no bonus for winning, but I thought about it, and something tiny that motivates the two players to continue to actually try and win and not just AFK after completing their quest while still making completing their quest the absolute primary goal, I think is sort of a necessity. But I don't even think your character should fall over if their health bar reaches 0 or even do that disappointed "Aww." There should only be celebration for whoever completed their quest. And yeah, later in the mode, it would begin to show you how combining different mechanics can lead into other stuff. Like if your contract or quest is land a heavy attack, attack, and your next one is land a super dash and connect some hits, it'd show you before the match that heavy attacks, which now through hands-on learning, you know when, where, and how to use them, go into super dash. Stuff like that I think would be crazy for learning. You could also have character-specific gauntlets and stuff, though these would probably result in long-ass queue times, not gonna lie. And speaking of which, ideally, I think you and your opponent will be doing the same quest at the same time, but that could definitely lead to long-ass queue times as well, I could foresee. As well as people teabagging as a sign of agreement to let each other complete their quest before actually fighting. But conceptually, am I not cooking? A mode that promotes hands-on learning of your normals, movement, and system mechanics against a real player rather than just being told about those normals, movement, and system mechanics against an idle bot, I think would go absolutely crazy. And rewarding the player for doing that stuff while taking away the sting of defeat, oh my gosh, bro, come on, son. Come on, son. That coupled with meaningful single-player content, I think is a recipe for the genre to finally explode, bro. The reason everyone loves Smash but they hate every other fighting game is because they're willing to look past the genre's fundamental issues that are felt by majority of people because of the allure of Smash Bros. I mean, it's Smash Bros. It's fucking amazing. Think about it. When the next Smash game comes out, all your friends are probably gonna buy it because the vibe of the game will draw them in. But those very same people are probably also drawn into other fighting games as well when they look at them. But because of everything we've talked about, they're always drawn out. But if there was just a fighting game you could buy and have all your friends enjoy learning how to play it, like genuinely have a great time and be rewarded for learning the shit, and once they've learned all the mechanics, they're put into the big league ultimate goal of ranked, or maybe their ultimate goal is fighting you, or maybe just being able to play the game and have fun, a mode like this would get them there. I'm not saying anyone at any level can beat whoever they want at chess. I'm saying the only way for both players to have fun and for both players to have a chance is for both players to have and understand the pieces on the board. Even if one player is clearly better than the other, it can still be enjoyable for both people so long as they both have all the pieces. That was a lot of boats. Something like that would be a fucking game changer. Like, I'm not even a super fighting game head myself, but I'll just be watching YouTube and I'll see a clip like,
I mostly just like to vibe. I like to have a good time. And it's basically impossible to have a good time in Street Fighter if you're not pretty good at the game, because it's hard to have fun if you're literally never winning. Especially when most people who play a game like this are really good and they're pretty hardcore about it. So if you're just kind of casually trying to have fun in Street Fighter, I mean, it's probably not gonna work out for you. Just give up like I did and never play it again.
my childhood gone now! And I'm just like, this fucking genre! What are you doing? This genre, in terms of gameplay, is generally an 11 out of 10 most of the time. Fundamentally 11 out of 10, bro. It has the thrill of fighting a Dark Souls boss, but it's a real-ass person. The satisfaction of feeling yourself get better, the exhilaration of a fat-ass victory. But the majority of people are denied from ever experiencing that because of the genre's current format and how it makes them feel. Even if you don't agree with my specific game changers, you must agree with that. And if you are in the fighting game space, I hope you can agree that fundamentally, some stuff needs to be changed before a mass amount of people are not just willing, but wanting to take the jumps against these hurdles. Because every game has hurdles. You'll still probably see a handful of comments reciting one of those things I plastered on that wall earlier. But when you see them, maybe not on this video, but just in the wild, rather than disputing them, proving them false, calling that person stupid, be nice. Think bigger. What led that person to truly believe what they're saying, even though deep down, they know that shit is straight fucking cap. Fighting games as a media, I don't know, are genuinely some of the most fun you can have playing games, but because of how they're currently formatted and how it makes people feel, it makes sense why majority of people only really mess with the one that has the super strong vibe and don't even try to fuck with any of the other ones. And I think both of them should adapt to be suitable for more people while staying gnarly as fuck. Factor cap. Thank you for watching. Members and subs, thank you. Like, comment, share the video with your friends or someone with eyes. Go follow my Twitch. I stream pretty frequently over there. Join the Discord. Also, what do you think of the quest mode idea? Ass, gas, would you change something? I genuinely want to know because I think it could be sick. It's mostly just like a rough outline. Like, there's definitely flaws with it, but like, what would you do to, you know, fix those sort of things? I think it genuinely could be a good idea, but let me know in the comments. Or cut out that part because then it seems like I didn't put that much thought into it, but I actually did. Subscribe it.